Assalamu alaikum. Today I'm going to read and analyze with you Surat Taariq. And as my dearly departed Sheikh Fawzi Saeed advised me to learn science. I've told you this story before, and I say I don't like science, I don't know science. And he said, then you learn it. So that's one of the reasons I'm reviewing Juz al-Amma, the 30th Juz of the Quran, because I really do believe it's filled with scientific miracles, subjects, whatever you want to term, more than anything else, because there are so many words that are difficult in this Juz. And then I realized that they have to do with science and the miracles in Quran. And I think today is probably the biggest one and the most controversial one in Surah Taariq. So I'm going to try, inshallah, to do it justice with you. I'm going to read the Arabic. Then I will read the translation. It's a small surah. And then I'll delve into the science as much as I'm able with the help of an expert, a medical doctor. And you'll see. I'm sure you know him. He's really quite famous. And he'll help us out here. Surah Taariq. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والسماء والطارق وما أدراك ما الطارق النجم ثاقب إن كل نفس بما عليها حافظ فلينظر الإنسان مما خلق من ماء دافق يخرج من بين الصلب والترائب إنه على رجعه لقادر يوم تبلى السرائر فما له من قوة ولا ناصر والسماء ذات الرجع والأرض ذات الصدع إنه لقول فصل وما هو بالحزل إنهم يكيد كيدا وأكيد كيدا فمهل للكافرين أمهلهم رويدا. So I will read the quick translation before we get into our big subject of today. By the sky and the night comer. And what can make you know what is the night comer? It is the piercing star. There is no soul, but that it has over it a protector. So let man observe from what he was created. He was created from a fluid ejected, emerging from between the backbone and the ribs. Indeed, he is returning. Well, you know, they put all these parentheses, so I just have to read it. Indeed, he, parentheses, Allah, to return him, parentheses, to life, is able. The day when secrets will be put on trial, then he will have no power or any helper. By the sky which sends back. And the footnote for this means sends back rain, heat, and sound waves. And the earth which splits. It says in the footnotes, splits with plant growth or from geological rifts. I think this is beyond my capacity right now. Oh my goodness, when the earth splits. Indeed, it is a decisive statement, and it is not amusement. Indeed, they are planning a plan, but I am planning a plan. So, allow time for the disbelievers. Leave them a while. And that's the end. Now, it is time for us to talk about where exactly comes or emerging from here this sperm. It says in English between the backbone and the ribs. So my first go-to was Dr. ZAKIR NAIK. Now, he is an Indian physician, and he is very well known and well recognized as a medical doctor and very knowledgeable of Quran. So I went into YouTube and I asked about this particular verse, and I found exactly what I was looking for. Seek and you shall find. Not only do we now have Dr. Naik's words in perfect English transcribed right on the screen, because you know he has a very thick accent. No more. All of it is transcribed on the screen, and then they give you the actual transcript, the whole transcript of what he's saying in English. You just press the button that says transcript, and here it goes. Now, the whole YouTube video is only 4 minutes, but there's a lot of repetition in the 4 minutes. So I'm going to scroll down with you because we certainly have at least 5 minutes, and you will see how much repetition there is. But it deserves your attention because in the beginning there's a critic, and then of course Dr. Naik sums it up clearly. The beginning says, I am Ahmed Hussein from Pakistan. I'm a student and a big fan of yours. I've heard some atheists saying that the Quran has a wrong statement about semen or sperm, that it comes from in between the ribs and the spine. It's scientifically wrong. How would you answer them? I love you. Brother Ahmed from Pakistan has asked a question that some people could say, and do say, that Quran has got unscientific things. When Quran said that semen and sperm is coming from the ribs and the spine. What you're referring to is the verse of the Quran from SURAT Taariq, chapter number 86, verses 5 through 7, which says, does not man think from what he's created? He's created from a minute quantity of fluid sperm, which is emitted from a space between the backbone and the ribs. So this verse of the Quran says that human beings have been created from a minute quantity of fluid, a sperm coming from the space between the backbone and the ribs. We know today the genetic organs of the human beings are not placed where the kidneys are. They are placed between the backbone and the ribs. So, what does the Quran mean by that today? Science tells us now that in the embryonic age, meaning when the child is in the womb of the mother, before he's born, the genital organs of the human beings then originate between the backbone and the ribs, the same space where the kidneys are present. And then during the embryonic life, they descend in the woman in the ovary. They descend till the true pelvis, and in the mall, the testes descend. I don't know what that means. Into the inguinal canal, into the scrotum. We all know what the scrotum is, the little sacs of the man. But even after they descend, the nerve supply and the blood supply, I don't know what that means, even in the elder's life, comes from the same space where the kidney is present. And that is between the backbone and the 11th and 12th rib. So even though the genital organs have descended, yet the blood supply and the nerve supply comes from the same space between the backbone and the ribs. Even the vein, when it returns the blood that goes back, it goes back to the same space. between the backbone and the 11th and 12th ribs. So today science tells us that the genital organs in the male are the testes and the female is the ovary. You know, you really have to know English well because they say trustees. I know it's testes. So, you know, it's a little sketchy when you're reading it and you're not very knowledgeable of any biological terms or English, but I do know enough to know that that means testes, not trustees. Oh, see, that's why the sheikh said, then go learn it, because he knew I could. I mean, I'm not saying I'm scientific and I really understand all of this, but I understand the meanings of the words. So I'm relaying it to you, and hopefully it will be enough to you to know that Quran doesn't make mistakes, and I understand what he's saying, but do I really have any in-depth knowledge of medicine? No. But I know those of you out there do, and this will be helpful in case anyone wants to challenge you about mistakes in the Quran. A'udhu billah. There's no mistakes in the Quran. Now, listen. So the Quran is revealed by Allah. He knows everything. So Quran said, does not man think about what he is created from? He's created from a drop, emitted from a space between the backbone and the ribs. At that time, when science wasn't developed, they thought what this was. But today, science has developed. And we know that Allah is talking about the origin of the genital organ wherever the present, alhamdulillah, this Quran verses of this surah, number 86, verses 5, 6, and 7, are not scientifically incorrect, but are scientifically perfect. Hope that answers your question. Yes, it does answer my question. Dr. NAIK, ZAKIR, ZAKIR, NAIK, NAIK. I think he is from South Africa. I'm going to hold up his picture now so you can see it on my screen. That's Dr. ZAKIR NAIK. And you can check him out. And you can hopefully circulate this miracle because, honestly, I often wondered about that. And now I know. Seek and you shall find. Knock and the door shall be open. We learned that as Christians. It's the same thing. You know, Allah tells us that if you walk to Allah, He'll come running to you. So, you know, it is all one. The Old Testament, the New Testament, it's called the Torah and the Injil and the Quran are one. But I think people aren't paying enough attention. They never have. They like to split into sects, competing sects. And that's in Surah Al-Mu'minun, Kullu hizbin bima ladayhim farihun. But now when we're in a state of confusion, I think probably more than we've ever been in the history that I can remember, because it's all the unseen, really the unseen. In the old days when war was brewing, they knew that it would be all about galloping horses and archery and spears and fire. And well, now, do we even know if it's a button that's pushed? Or is it a spark? Or is it some form of weaponry invented by man? And we can only say, Allahu Alam. But we do know that Allah is Alim, and He knows everything. And He's Khabir, well-informed. He's Qadir, totally able to let you know what's up. So what's up? Well, the sky is up. And above the sky is Allah. And He is Ali, Al-A'la, Al-Muta'al. He is the Most High over everything. And He always will be. So I hope this was helpful. I might have to get into some more scientific things. But right now, today, I have chosen the next Surah Al-Ghashiyah. So I'll do that right now. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'll do it right now, inshallah. So stay tuned.